So we're going to be sewing this cuff on now. So we've sewn the edge from the previous video. We're going to bend it in, fold it in half, and you can see now that it resembles a cuff that you see on sweaters and stuff with a little seam. So we're going to get the hoodie. I keep saying hoodie, a sweatshirt. You can get a sweatshirt and you've got your armhole, and this needs to go on here. It's a lot smaller, you can see. So what we need to do is we need to get this seam and that seam in line. So we're going to put this over that. I won't sew it yet, I'll just show you, because if we pinned it, you can see that when I'll pin it and show you what it's going to look like. So I've just put a couple of clips on. I don't use pins, especially anyway. So once we've sewn it like round here, when we fold it out, it's going to look like a cuff. I mean, it's not, you can just get an idea of that. So you fold it sort of upside down. To get it on this machine, I'll take these out because they just get in my way when I'm doing it. I just don't like it to have them. But when you're new, you are really better off pinning. So I'm going to get that seam and this seam. When I fold these, I get these going opposite, so I get one going one way and one going the other way, just so that there's not as much bulk. And then I get this seam and I match it up there. Can you see? I'm going to match this seam up with that seam. So inside I've got one going one way, one going the other, so there's not as much bulk. And then I put this seam on that seam like that, and then I take it to my machine like this. Get you close up. And from the inside, I sew. So I'm going to lift the foot up and I'm going to lift the pins higher so that I can get this under here like this. So I get it right under and I get it as flat as I can towards this edge. All my seams are lined up and I just manipulate it round like this. So I'm just showing you a little bit, and then I might change the angle of the camera. So just let's go slowly. You can see how I'm going slowly. So from this angle, can you see the 3 layers? Just get them lined up as best as you can. And we're going to go slowly. And when I get to my finger, I manipulate it round, get them all lined up again. All 3 layers lined up again, little sandwich. Keep it in line with this edge. Keep it in line with this. And again, just going round. So at this time you do have to stretch this cuff fabric here a tiny little bit, because the cuff is smaller than the opening, because cuffs are tighter. So just going to manipulate it. Again, I'm going to start sewing. We're only losing the minimal amount. Like that. I'm going to get back to the beginning in a minute. So again, you need to make sure that you're trapping all the layers together here. Can you see that bit's not trapped where I first started off? So I'm just going to go past this here just to make sure that I catch that tiny bit. That often happens. So now I'm just going to move it slightly that way. I'm going to finish sewing so it comes off the back. I've got a bit of a longer thread because I need to tie this off so that we can tie the threads later to secure it so it doesn't unravel. So I'm just going to cut it there. And I can show you this. that's that done all together. I'm going to turn it that way. Hopefully it's neat, and look, the line is pretty much perfect. It's lined up perfectly. And there's the cuff for one side. There we go. Right, so we're going to do the neck piece, and we folded it in half just the same as with the cuffs, and then we need to put clips or pins, whatever you prefer. We've got to make it into quarters, so we've got to separate it into quarters. So our first pin is going to go on the seam of the neckband. So the first pin is going to go on the seam of the neckband, and then we're going to fold the neckband in half like that, and then the second pin is going to go there opposite this pin. This is the first pin. So then we're going to put them two pins together like that, and then we're going to put a pin there and a pin there. So you can see that there's 4 pins, and the width between the pins is the same. So this just means that you're going to get this neckband into this hole equally, because you can see the hole and the neckband are different sizes. So as I mentioned in the other video, our seam is going to go here on this back seam here. So our seam is going to match up to that seam. Again, we've got to quarter this so that each one of these matches up to one of these as we go around and sew. So match that seam up to there. So we've straightened it out, put it like that, and then again these two. So each gap here is the same distance apart. So the first bit we're going to do is get it back to where the back is again. Sorry about that. So we've got it back to where the back is. We're going to get the seam here to that seam. We only need 1 pin. So we're going to put this seam here to this seam, and just like the cuffs, we're going to have one going one way and one going the other way inside the neck bit, like that. And then we're going to butt that up to there, so that we're going to butt that up to there, so when we sew it, you can see here that the seams are all going to be in line. You see a little sandwich here. Obviously you need to straighten it up before you sew it, but that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to put a clip on there like that, and then we're going to go round to the next one. And this is not got a seam on this one, it's just going to go where the clip is. So we're going to clip that one to there, and we're going to go to the next one. And we're going to take that clip off there and clip it to there, so it's all clipped on. Last one. So we're going to clip this one to this one. So it's like that. So now it looks like this. So again, it's just the same as your cuff with your little sandwich. So you've got your neck ribbon and your shirt, and then if we turned it out, you can see it's going to be attached. So it looks a bit strange at the moment. We're going to start sewing again on the machine at this point here, where the seams are, so that we can manipulate it through nice and slowly so that they don't come misaligned. We want them to be nice and aligned, especially here on the neck. It's quite hidden on the cuff, but here on the neck we need it to be quite nice and aligned so that it's very neat. So I'm going to get that in the machine and I'll come back to you. So I'm just going to take the clip off, because at this point I know it's these seams that are all going to be together, so I'm not going to lose my placement. I'm going to slide this really gently underneath the foot, close the foot. Just going to make sure that the two sides of the neck and this are the actual top are aligned, and then slowly, again as before, I'm just going to start sewing just like I did before. Just move it a little bit, so really slowly. And with this I need to lift the foot and just guide it underneath the seam. I just need to guide it under so that it doesn't become misaligned slowly. So you always start off slowly to make sure everything stays in line. So I'm just going to carry on sewing around here slowly, getting everything in line. Make sure you're moving this fabric underneath out of the way, because you do not want this to be bunched up under here and sew through your other part of your outfit, because you're going to be absolutely gutted. Can you imagine if I did that now and I sewed through the back of this when I'd done all that work? So I just sweep my hand underneath. Just be really careful. Just make sure that you keep everything in line while you're doing it. So coming up to the first, well, the second really pin now, just sweeping everything underneath. So I just take the pin off now because I know we're about there. Just make sure everything's lined up, everything's nice and neat, and start sewing again. Again, you can see the seam needs just to be pushed underneath slightly with the scissors, carefully, so it doesn't cause any bulk. I'm just going to slightly pull on this bottom piece because that is smaller than the neck hole. So literally just really gently, I'm just easing this a little bit all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. You can see I'm coming up to where I started. So again, I sew past where I started to make sure that it's going to be sewn together fully, no gaps. And then as I get past where I started, I'm just going to slightly bring it off like this. So there we've got the neck ribbing. That's nice and in line at the back. And then this sits really nice and flush. We'll do when it's ironed. With the neck. It's not stretched or pulled or anything. It's really nice in line. So that's neck, cuffs, and now we're going to do the hem. The hem is exactly the same as the neck and cuffs. I really don't think I need to go through it all with you. I'm going to fold it as I did before. This is a bit easier, to be honest with you, because you've already got two seams. So you've got two seams, so we're going to put each of them seams over here, one with that side seam, line them up as I said before, opposite directions, pin like that. Same with this one, over to the other side, line the seams up as I showed you before, like so. Obviously you're going to take your time and do it neatly. Pin, and then as you can see the shirt is sandwiched in between. So that's the shirt finished. Cuffs, neck and waistband. So a lot of people, me included, have another machine called a cover stitch machine, and they cover stitch round here like a fan, you know, it's called a top stitch. So they top stitch around here. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet with this, and that's just a video for another time. But I'm going to iron this all now, and I'll get you a picture when it's all ironed.